Hello, everyone. Welcome to the. Oh god, I fucked this already. Welcome back to the political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. I saved it. Joining me as always is my scrumptious co-host, Judge Trupsy Wupsy or Trups LP. Say hello, Trups LP.
Hello, Trups LP.
How is Trups LP? And oh my god, your audio is amazing.
Much better. Out of the bucket.
I couldn't. I tried to save last week's audio.
I know.
I tried so many things. I was there for about 4 hours. I was there for 4 hours, and I'm just like, nope, I can't sexify.
So sorry.
It's not your fault. It just wasn't your fault. I do want to start by saying thank you to the now 150 people now that follow us on Spotify. I also want to start by teasing something. So if you watch this on playback, which a fair few do, I appreciate that. I want to show you what the new set will look like, but there's not going to be any avatars on it just yet. So it's only going to be there for a couple seconds. Boom! Cool. And back. There isn't much happening in the UK with regards to politics, so I'm going to do some pleasantries first. What's Trups been up to this week?
Oh, well, I just got back from my trip, and my home state has welcomed me back with a huge amount of fucking rain.
I wouldn't mind some of that over here, although we did have a lot yesterday, which was quite nice because of the heat wave we had for the 3 days prior.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 days were hell for me. Just hell. I had my fan on constantly.
You not deal with heat very well.
I don't mind heat. I can't do it in my room because there's no natural wind flow because my window's on the side of the house, not the front. If it was front to back with the way the wind travels here, I'd be fine, but mine on the side means that I don't get that natural wind flow and I struggle in the evening, more notably when the sun is on my window.
Got it. Meg prefers it front to back.
Can confirm.
Yes, good.
So, you got back.
Other than that,
how was the flight at least?
The flight was not too bad. I usually sleep on flights, but I just was not able to this time around, so I had to stay awake for the 6 hours of fucking flight that I had.
Well, 6 isn't too bad, is it? I mean, I've done 6-hour train journeys that can get quite exhausting if you haven't got something to read or play.
Yeah, we watched a couple movies.
That's all right. I mean, I watched... I mean, okay, so nearest thing, I recently watched the Snyder Cut Justice League.
How was it?
I started it last night and finished watching it today because it's 2 DVDs. It's 4 hours long. There's a scene in it, and so you can tell where Joss Whedon went with his story, but the story that Snyder had was so much better. It's so much better, and there was a scene in that never made it in the original cut. Like the Flash was just a comedy piece in Whedon's version. In this, he turns back time. It was such a good scene, especially when
the Flash do.
I think it's the idea of breaking the speed of light, and you see a hint of it when they resurrect Superman, and also the scene of that isn't also too cringy either. Oh, Lois Lane's the big weapon. Okay, no, she just happened to notice him flying in the sky after an explosion. Actually, it was just coincidence, which is somewhat. It was a better story for Steppenwolf and Darkseid, and it was. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously, it was too long, but actually, I'm known here, especially for watching the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, so I can do 4 hours quite handily.
Me too.
I absolutely love the extended versions. I get really heartbroken at the end of Return of the King, of course, but that's understandable.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like that's how it was supposed to end, though. Like, it gives them a much more like I don't want to call it a redemption story, but it brings it full circle when you see that final scene, and they get to basically have what essentially becomes everlasting life.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching longer movies anyway, if I find the time. Now that I finished my more recent, bigger project, I have the time, and I have no intention of doing another one yet. So I will watch movies because why not? But yeah, that. Long movies, that is. If you have the ability to watch those on journeys, then that's great. Okay, so
I watched a couple of old movies that I haven't.
I
haven't watched in a while. Like There are some like Disney movies and Pixar movies that are actually kind of nice to watch, even if you're
Yeah.
old.
So
Yeah.
Trups,
Yeah.
tell me about Cum Rocket and Cummies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I had just seen this right before we started the show, and I was like, you wanna start off our show with getting demonetized because we could talk about cummies, which is currently trending on Twitter.
So was Cum
Okay.
Rocket. So was Cum Rocket.
Okay, so Cum Rocket is technically the name of it, but Cummies is the actual
That reminds
coin
me
name.
of the Jeff Holiday. It was the Gerard Depardieu Cummies. I want cummies in my tummies. Was that it?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I'm
remember it
not familiar.
years ago during the time of the cringe lords. I mean, shit lords.
Hmm.
Cummies in my tummy. It was a Gerard Depardieu, Gerard, whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think I know what you're talking
it
about
was a
now.
meme. It was a meme, and yes, people saying it was cringy enough. But there you are. I'm surprised,
Yes.
although I didn't know that was why Cummies was here. I didn't know that it was. It's not here. I don't
Yes.
know.
So let me explain to everyone who is very confused as to why we are even bringing this up. Okay, there is a cryptocurrency that exists that is supposed to um, basically standardize or I don't know, revolutionize, but it's for the NSFW industry, okay, and it's supposed to be a way for them to receive payment in a reasonable and safe way, okay. Elon Musk had basically tweeted it out earlier,
Well, he
and
tweeted out an
it was
emoji.
yes. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up
I've got
real
the
quick.
I've got the image. It was an image
Oh,
of
do you?
water, a rocket, with an arrow to a crescent moon.
Ah, yes. So the stereotypical ejaculate image,
Yes,
and then
the
and then
rocket.
rocket to the moon.
Yep.
Now, I think I know why he did that one in particular, and that's just because looking at it, it was at like 40 cents, and then it went up, or 4 cents, and then it went up to like 16,
I mean,
18.
like Dogecoin. Remember when he did
Yeah.
that? Oh my god,
Well, I mean,
blew
think
up.
about it. You could put down, pennies on the dollar essentially, right?
Yeah.
And then that means that you get so much more for it, right? You could put down $1,000 at 4 cents, and then when it goes up 10 cents, you got a crazy amount of return for no reason. Also, let it be known that searching cummies on Twitter has now permanently ruined my search history. Um, so yeah, that's a thing that existed, and I wanted to start it off with something light because a lot of the other stuff that we have today
Mm-hmm.
is, well, it's dark.
It's
Not so dark, but it's dark in a sense of like, wow, here's where we are with this world right now at
it's
the moment.
certainly not as light-hearted. And I'll be
No.
honest, I'm getting crap in the chat for for the Justice League thing. Spider Geronimo, I will say I will politely agree to disagree. I found Snyder's version to be more enjoyable than Joss Whedon's, but I take no issue with you having a differing opinion with me on that because I guess perhaps you're more invested in DC than I could ever be, and that's quite all right. I'm not really invested in movies much these days, so lots of CGI really works for my inability to focus on movies these days, unless it's Lord of the Rings. Where do you want to start, by the way, with this? Should we go with
Okay,
this?
so we've got a couple of them. You have any that you're partial to?
We'll go with the simpler one. In the United Kingdom today, we had something trending, which made bugger all sense. I thought when I saw it that it was talking about what was maybe used in a crime in the United Kingdom. The trend was the AR-15. I thought it was because perhaps with a shooting, there have been a few recently, that it was an AR-15 used. Can you do to me? What does AR-15 stand for?
Armalite 15.
Cool, because obviously the what are the casuals think it stands for?
Assault rifle 15.
Okay, what's the difference between this and an assault rifle?
okay, well, Armalite is a company that
Okay.
made it.
Yep.
And assault rifle is a misnomer used by people who don't know shit about their about anything regarding firearms when describing them.
Good. Thank you for that. So,
Yeah.
I that's why I believed AR-15 was trending in the UK because of a gun shooting. It's good to have this information, by the way, because I didn't know actually about Armalite. Didn't know.
Hmm.
I actually was happy for you to tell me that. So I noticed when I clicked on it, though, there was a New York Times article. And thank you, chat, also for telling me it's Armalite. That now tells me the delay.
Hmm.
Where a judge
The
in
play
California...
works. Good job.
I do appreciate that. A federal judge has overturned a 32-year assault weapon ban because they deemed
Mm.
it a failed experiment, which
Hmm.
the governor of California has called a direct threat to public safety. So what do you think about this?
Okay, so that failed attempt, failed experiment, was California's prohibition on the sale of quote assault weapons in 1989. Now there are actual assault weapon bans, and I'm talking about like automatic weapon bans.
Yeah.
Those do exist, and they're on a federal level too. um, you have to actually apply for a specific permit to obtain a federally licensed automatic weapon. Um, but California in particular, um, well, it had put forth a how would you describe that? It's military style semi-automatics. Okay,
Right. Okay.
California decided no, you're not allowed to have those
They've got some of the strictest
because
gun
they're
control
big and
laws.
scary. Yes, they do, and they also have some of the worst gun crime.
They also have what are they called? Those zones where people can't have guns.
Gun-free zones.
That's it. And yet there have been
Yeah.
many shootings in those as well. Because
Yes,
who would have thunk it?
Chicago, New York.
Who would have thunk it? Criminals just don't obey the law. Right.
Yes. Now, when they had first like talked about this, like when they first tried to push this, they did say it was supposed to be like, oh, you know, nobody should have an AK-47, you know, fully automatic, all that kind of stuff. But what it actually ended up banning was modern, ordinary, popular rifles, and that was something that the judge had wrote when he overturned it. He said that they were not the bazookas or howitzers or machine guns that they had argued that they were going to be, but
Yeah.
rather it was just a standard hunting rifle that was black.
Okay.
If it's made of metal and is black, they're very scared of it.
Great.
If it's wooden and it's the same caliber, they're not afraid of it for some
I'm
reason.
I'm gonna go 3D print one. No, I'm gonna get one. No, what is it when you get some wood and you start hewing? You know, hewing. You start using a blade and you start just carving away to make your own little gun out of it. I don't know what that is. A process for that, and I've forgotten the name. But yes, I'll do that to make myself a nice Beretta. Don't worry, I got this, fam. Okay.
Yes, good. I mean, you can act. I mean, physically, you can 3D print guns. Probably not in your country,
No,
but
not in my country. Oh God, I would be shut down so fast.
yes, but in my country, I mean,
Whittling, thank you.
oh, whittling.
Whittling, yes. Thank you, Disconnart and Normie, you geniuses. Thank you. Whistling, that's what it's called. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so much better now.
Was it bothering you?
I was going to start aggressively typing on Google, okay? I was going to... You're going to hear me just going... Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Carry on, please. Sorry.
No, you could in this country in certain states, but they're trying to fix. They're trying to stop that right now, actually.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
surprised.
honestly that would be more of the realm of quote unquote ghost guns that they were talking about, but the 3D printed weapons really aren't very. They're not very stable for long term use yet.
No, they're definitely a short-term thing. I mean, the only thing I've got that's close to it, isn't a firearm. I should preface it. It's a prop. It's a 3D printed lawgiver from Judge Dredd from the Dredd 2012 movie. The trigger
Come on,
doesn't
make it real.
right. The trigger doesn't move. It's a set block essentially. It's a one piece. Well, I think actually it's a few pieces. Then they're glued together. Because you can, the detail's fantastic. I have it hung just behind my monitors. And yeah, it's fantastic. Sorry about the alert then, if anyone heard that on YouTube. Apparently Litmus Anonymous can't wait. But you'll have to.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, I do have one, but it doesn't. There's no version of it where it could ever fire. Hell, the chamber, it's the shaft bit in the middle. What's it called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. Chamber's fine.
Thank you. It's a solid piece. There's only a hole at the top for about an inch. That's it. Just the nozzle has hollowness. The rest of it's just solid. I wanted to say it as a disclaimer in case someone suddenly goes, "Yo, boys, we got one. We send them in. Get the dogs."
Yes.
Fucking waffle project played them as well.
Yes. Fucking Met Police. Fuck off.
Don't. I've already got an expedition of stupid people at Target on them as well. They've cocked up again, and it's freaking hilarious. You know what? Screw it.
That's redundant. That's redundant.
No, this one's brilliant. So, in the United Kingdom, there are some items that are banned. You're not allowed to use on the road or path, like segways. And electric scooters are on this list. And because they're road legal, but they're not road legal. You have to have insurance, and certain conditions have to be met to use them on public roads and stuff. Private's fine, doesn't matter. The police recently seized one. To do so, they got one of the biggest tow trucks, and they put the scooter upright on the tow truck with nothing else around it and strapped it down.
Okay.
Just to confiscate a freaking scooter.
So, are we talking like a mobility scooter?
No. I tell you what, I'll go and get you the article. Don't worry, fam. I've got you.
Oh, yes, good.
Where is it? Scroll. Odyssey of shit. UK police are still a joke. Here it is.
I like Dark Nikta in the chat going barrel. That's the tube that the bullet.
It's in our it's in our political recap chat thing. It'll be the scroll down first picture. You'll see it.
Oh no! It's like a real scooter. It's like a goddamn Razor scooter.
It's a scooter, and they confiscated it and got the whole freaking truck out.
Oh wow! That's your taxes. Those are your taxes.
It's two wheels. It's the electric version of one of those little shitty stunt ones that lots of people had, and all they ever did was lift their foot up and spin it round. This is the electric version. You've got to be out of your knucking mind.
The kind that you get to go through like cities with.
Yeah. And I'm just like, they're banned, mostly banned a lot in the UK. They were out, made legal ages ago. Because because it's that whole road legal thing. That's what it is. And
ride them on the road.
Then they argue you shouldn't have them on the path because they're a motorized vehicle. Mobility scooters are the only ones that should be allowed. And I'm
That's exactly what this is, my verbiage.
Yeah. My view on it is it should be legal because I kind of want one. And that's the only reason why. Don't worry. I will feature this segment of our stream in that video on Thursday because I can't be bothered to talk about it again and laugh at how utterly stupid that is. I might go into the law a bit more, but only to say this law is asinine. We're done with it. Get rid of it. Carry on, please.
All right. So, yeah, that's an interesting one. But no, for the California thing, they overturned it essentially. And that means that technically California gets to return to actually some semblance of respecting gun laws, I guess. So that's a win for gun owners. Very interesting that it's coming now. We'll see where it goes.
Okay. So next on the slightly darker one was that I noticed Trump Arctic was trending. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know why Trump Arctic in particular, but I've seen a lot of things with Trump lately.
Trump Arctic was because Biden is shutting down certain, I believe, mining or oil thing happening up there. And that was all stuff that Trump pushed during his presidency. My view is, if you can do it safely, do it. Because it's not like the renewables are truly fully there yet. So more time is required anyway. People are saying that, people saying this is a good thing because, I'll read one of the tweets I gave you. So it said, Trump Arctic. Trump didn't just screw America, but he tried to screw the entire planet to profit from it. His name will always be remembered with the likes of Hitler. Now okay.
Okay.
I don't care for the comparison to Hitler, because it's a really slippery sort of thing. Yep. I don't care for it because it's Nottingham, by the way, people mentioned in the chat about the scooters. Not surprised. They've got a freaking tram line and it's fantastic. But the comparing Trump to Hitler is pointless. They're nothing alike. You can argue, but the policies. Okay, go on then. Compare the policies. Actually compare the policies and show me where your bias is. And show me how well you know. And show me where you know how well you know your history, because I don't think these people know their history as well as they think they do. And if they do know their history on Hitler very well, colour me surprised. Really, really surprised, because I don't think you do. No. But he was trending because of Biden doing something to shut down the whatever that was going on in the Arctic that Trump had started, and people saying this is a president that cares about the environment and the people, unlike his predecessor who was literally Hitler. That was pretty much it. Although Trump has been everywhere this week.
So, like, some of the other ones that I had seen was, like...
website shutting down?
Trump is... Well, that one, too. But also there was one that was, like, Trump is not well. He's been pushing conspiracies that he's going to be reinstated in August.
Okay, so I had
What?
I had heard that. That was an interesting one to me. I heard that with the... what was that electoral recount going on in Georgia or something? But I'm like, that's not going to turn this around.
Yeah. Okay, so there's been a bunch of recounts that have been going on, and Arizona in particular. Now, we don't have any information on it yet, but some people have claimed that that the Arizona one in particular is finding that, like, some 86,000 people had voted, and I legitimately have no knowledge if this is true by any stretch of the imagination, so fuck off, YouTube. I don't know this for certain, or I'm not making the claim, but that's what's being said.
Yeah.
I'm reporting the news.
Yeah. For the sake of it, we have to be... If you noticed, with these subjects, we're having to tread a little bit carefully, because YouTube are still on this thing of, but talking about the election as if the election was invalid, can't do that. Talking about COVID as if anything in that is controversial, careful. So we have to be a little bit careful, because some of this does lead to Trump again, along with COVID, which we'll get to soon. We will get to it soon.
In some cases, some of these websites have gone so fucking nuts that I can't even sometimes repeat what Trump has said, because then it could be considered circumnavigating a ban. At least that's how Twitter found it.
Yeah.
There was a guy who was posting, like, some of Trump's, like, comments on his own Twitter, and they called it circumnavigating the ban, and they banned that guy's account.
There's a Twitter account called 45th President's Trump Archive or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I know that hasn't been yeeted yet exists. And obviously we'll get to a ban later anyway, because obviously that's quite interesting and not surprising, especially if he intends to rerun, which he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm just scrolling through.
Also, yeah, that's the other thing. Jaya Suryan, says in chat, like, Trump didn't actually say that. Like, we couldn't find any information that linked Trump to actually saying, yes, I'm going to be reinstated in August. It was a source familiar with the president.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, and we saw this during the second impeachment, didn't we? Where they cited tweets that didn't come from the people they claimed it came from, or context was removed from the tweet.
Well, what they constantly do is they constantly just retweet each other. So, okay, let's say I am reporter from X place, and I say sources indicate that Trump believes himself to be a large fish. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then somebody else goes, this person reports that Trump, the insiders say that Trump is a large fish, and that keeps getting fucking passed around. And it's just a giant circle jerk of who's actually reporting it. So, unfortunately, there's never any truth to the things that are being said. It's always insiders, anonymous sources, and then just reporters reporting on each other reporting, which is as crazy as it sounds.
It is pretty crazy, to be fair.
But that one I kept seeing a whole lot. I remember even getting a notification on my phone where it's like, Trump is not well. And I'm like, what?
Okay, so I saw that one. I saw that one because that there was one of him, a random picture of him about to play golf or something, and it was like an independent article saying he's looking a bit off, and I'm like, you've just taken a profile picture of him. Mm-hmm. He's not looking at you. He's not talking to you. Of course, someone's going to look off if they're not engaging with you.
It reminds me a lot of like old. You remember tabloid newspapers and like what TMZ used to be, where it used to just be like some creepy ass fucking paparazzi hiding in a bush outside of fucking Madonna's house, going, Madonna's got a new outfit. What does that mean for her love life with whomever?
You
remember those things? Like you see them at like the store.
Or every photo they ever tried to get of any celebrity up their skirt, because they're like, oh,
that was a thing too.
Yeah, I kind of never understood the appeal of that, because I always thought that was just, you're literally catching them as they're trying to get out of a car. Come on.
The internet didn't exist as well then.
No, it didn't, and obviously upskirting laws weren't a thing either.
Well, yes. Now you have revenge porn and upskirting laws, especially in your country in particular.
Oh, upskirting, we do not tolerate. Revenge porn.
No, not at all.
Yeah, the revenge porn thing.
You guys are brutal.
We are, and I fully support the revenge porn one, especially. I can't.
Oh yeah.
The upskirting one is trash, but I haven't looked at what the punishment is for that yet, because I do think you shouldn't be invading.
Trash for trashy people, though.
Yeah, you shouldn't be invading personal space like that, and perhaps there is a punishment there depending on what your. I guess no, there's no depend. You should there should be a punishment there somewhere. It's trash.
I think it's just trashy all around, so I don't think anything really shocks me at that point. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I'm with you.
It's just trashy in general.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just trash. But I fully support revenge porn one, because that's just, come on. You're not together and that's what you do? Fuck off. Go kill yourself. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that, but like, do it in Minecraft.
Yeah, please. Go play 7 Days to Die and eat some glass. In 7 Days to Die, if you eat glass, it works, okay? Don't do it really. Do it in 7 Days to Die, alright? Just keep doing it.
I watched your dream video today actually about that, and I was like, oh man, I should play like 7 Days again. It looks really good actually. I'll talk to you about it after this.
I actually, I will say for the sake of it, so I've got a 7 Day story. Many on my server will remember this. I made so much beer, and I drank all of it. But if you in Alpha 16, when you do that, you just become incredibly lethargic. My health was going down, but not my actual health. My buffered health, like you earn extra health points over time. That was all going. The problem was, after about an hour, my guy hadn't sobered up, and I couldn't run. I couldn't do anything. So like,
and then the blood moon would come.
Yeah, and it was so bad. I was in my safely underground anyway, and I'm just like, what do I do? And someone says, eat some glass. Will that'll work? Like, yes. All right then. So I ate some, and I survived. I was so annoyed because I was still alive. And they're like, "Well, do it again then." I'm like, "Oh, come on! I don't want to break another window." All right then. I'm dead. Thank God. Oh, thank God. It's.
You wouldn't just go fucking, deconstruct a glass bottle. No.
I had to go somewhere else and break a window. I was so.
Oh my God.
My guy was so pissed. It was so ruined. I lost so much health over that.
We had so much fun playing it. If you guys weren't around for those streams, they're still up. I recommend just enjoying some of that. They're stupid. They're so much fun. But anyway, we'll talk more about it like personally because I may want to play it again.
Maybe.
But anyways,
so I have a question.
Sure.
What? Because I did post an article on this. The G7 finance ministers agreed a minimum global corporation tax of 15%. What do you think about that?
So I have to question it.
Well, it's minimum.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm going with that. I don't. So internationally, I don't necessarily quite understand the complexities of like the G7.
Yeah.
But I get the point where they want to make, at least according to the Daily Mail article here, it says, to make tech giants pay their fair share in a plan that will go to the G20 nations next month.
I want to say before we go on anywhere, I always have to question this. What do you mean by fair?
Okay, so this is where I get really, like, I don't like a lot of different like tax plans. I really would rather do a thing like the flat tax rate, for instance. Like, yes, numerically you won't pay all the same, but percentage you shall all pay the same. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not necessarily fair because somebody making basically right above the poverty line paying, let's just say 10%, is a considerable amount of money for them, whereas 10% for somebody making 40 million on their business, it's not a whole lot for them. And I understand the complexities there. I disagree with the usage of the word fair if you're going to use it in
it's
such
nebulous.
A way.
It's such a nebulous word, and that's
fair really means
it's
like,
it's a buzzword.
I said so, right?
It's a buzz. It's always used as a way of saying what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like what we're doing is making them come down to us a little bit more. What we're actually going to do is barely change anything at all. Because if I'm not mistaken, corporation tax is it corporation tax in the UK like 20-something%? Corporation tax UK. It's 18%. So we're already it's 19% now. So it's already above the 15% anyway. Let's have a look at US. Corporation tax for the United States reduced from 35%. It's 21%. So if the global minimum is 15%, it's at best a mild statement where you've gotten others to agree. And I know why they've done it. They've done it because some people, what we do, if you raise the corporation tax too high, what will you do? You move your business headquarters to another country where the corporation tax is lower. It's why Google and Facebook in like the sphere of Europe operate out of Ireland, where it's higher, where it's lower. Sorry, and Ireland will veto it. You're absolutely right. Lewis Steele's in the YouTube chat. I think it looks more like a virtue thing, but actually it annoys people because it's stupid. It's a stupid gesture that doesn't accomplish anything to the average person. The average person sees this and goes, I'm sorry, you're making them pay 15% tax. Percentage-wise, I pay more. That's what they're going to say.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be the first thing. It's going to be people will be like, what? 15? I pay 20, or I pay 19. I pay whatever. Like, that's not fair. Especially because you're looking at companies that are primarily based in America.
It does then question why the word fair is being used. It's not
because it's a
accurate.
virtue word. Yeah, you're very right. The word is virtue.
Yeah. But it's a weak one because it's 15%. That doesn't sound to the average person to be fair at all. Now, for me, there are big numbers involved in this, and obviously a lot of them are shareholder based. It's always quite complicated when it comes to the percentage of tax. Really is complicated. So how do you placate all involved? And I guess it depends on the company and how close they are to the respective government in charge.
Realistically, I don't think you can. But if they really, really wanted to actually do that, right, then they would, and this will never happen, ever, but they would have to enforce that kind of stuff on companies like Huawei. Yeah, right.
Okay,
right?
so I'm going to insert a joke here. I saw a picture. I've got it from my this week. I think I've got it for this week at Twitter. Next week, I saved it. It was Tiananmen Square. Oh, here it is. It was a picture. Global Times did an article, editorial. Tiananmen Square embodies Chinese people's confidence in China's politics. The Chinese public's understanding on June 4th incident was fundamentally changed. We laugh at those posturing commemorative activities orchestrated by outside forces. Underneath were pictures of Tiananmen Square on different networks, phones even. You've got like Samsung, picture of the guy there. Apple, picture of the guy there. Nokia, picture of the guy there. Huawei, just the guy. No tanks at all. I don't think that's accurate. That is the most accurate way of summarizing. I'm sorry. The Tiananmen Square embodies Chinese people's confidence in China's politics. I'm sorry, how many tanks were in front of that guy again?
3?
4.
3 or 4?
It was 4. That doesn't at all. The only reason they agree is because they don't want their social credit score to go down.
Mm-hmm.
You divs.
But like, if you had enough people in China saying no, like no one's social credit score would be high.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get people to do that, and I'm not happy about it.
I'm not surprised. Okay. Corporation must be punished. Depends on which one. Is it the umbrella one? Because I'm down for that.
No, you just want your big vampire lady.
I wanted to step on me.
All right, so
the thirst is real.
For many people, it is.
Indeed.
Shall we go into the Fauci thing before we get into Trump?
All right. So, Fauci, tell me who he is first. Who is Fauci?
Dr. Fauci being the COVID doctor, the premier virologist, epidemiologist,
right?
Put in place by Donald Trump to basically help control the COVID epidemic and be the public mouthpiece for all of it.
So
that's Fauci.
We had a version of that in the UK. I think it's Chris Whitty, a doctor who had no experience in virology at all. But you know what? Why not? Head doctor of some kind. No one really gave a damn. We also had the scaremongering COVID doctor person, but he was a div. And we also
Fauci played both.
Oh, fantastic. You really do know how to condense this down. That's brilliant. Dr. Fauci was trending all over Twitter. And, yeah. And you can clip this, Karina, after the stream. So, she's one of my, a member of my server, Tempe, I believe. Fauci was trending on Twitter because some emails came out, didn't they?
Yes. Based on the Freedom of Information Act, which is basically an allowance by the United States government to go into some government officials' official emails. It was obtained by the Washington Post and BuzzFeed News, interestingly enough.
Yeah, BuzzFeed, surprisingly, I've got to give BuzzFeed some credit here. They've not been too bad on this, actually. I've been somewhat surprised.
I think it's because they realize that their
Losing
they're
their
they're they're
audience.
well, losing their audience is one part, but I was gonna say something along the lines of they are losing faith in Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Um, like because even the Biden administration decided that they were thinking about how to um, accept his quitting before he even said anything about quitting. You know, kind of like some of those things where it's like you hear about Hillary Clinton people like going out and things, and then you say, "Yes, we're very sorry to hear about this tragic loss of this man who will end up being found committing suicide."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's kind of like that.
Ooh.
um, but in this case, I think what it actually comes out to be is they don't like that this information has come out. It has undermined their control of the mass populace, as they have begun to question where Dr. Fauci kind of sits in a lot of this, including the lab leak hypothesis, which was the idea that the coronavirus originated in a Wuhan lab. Um,
Which has led to a
it
number of
appears
internal committees where there has been some corroboration actually from Fauci, where it came to
correct.
money that was being invested in some research or tests, I believe,
Yes.
which we spoke of last week. I think we did. Yeah, we did. We spoke about it then.
Yeah, we did. And
It's
there's
messy.
been more than just that, but that is definitely a major part of it.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's actually we keep finding out more about everything. Like
Uh,
every day, there's just more and more like coming out, and we're just like, oh boy,
it's
there was like 3,000 something pages of emails.
yeah, there was a lot to go through. I didn't have time for that.
No, but some of them, USA Today actually did a great job. Basically going what Fauci was saying publicly versus what he was saying privately in emails. Now, some people, including uh, let's see here, USA Today had posted all those links about the public versus private, and then USA Today also posted the missing context comments. Also, it was published June 3rd at 7:25 a.m. and then at June 3rd, 6 p.m., fact check, missing context, and claim about emails.
That's
his
impressive.
position on Mac.
That is
I'm like,
impressive.
ooh, internal conflict.
It's not just internal conflict, it's also showing a level of intellectual honesty.
Or dishonesty, because I'm looking at this, and that private versus public email. Remember how I said that thing was published 6:03?
It's not there anymore, is it?
Well, oh, it's there, but it was updated at 6:01.
Wait, what? Okay.
That article was updated right before they posted the fact check.
Okay, that's impressive. That's impressive.
So it's both intellectually dishonest and honest at the same time.
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
Have you read much of this email stuff?
I have read analyses of it.
And
So
what is your
one
view of that?
my view is that Fauci quite clearly has always been saying one thing to the people and saying the exact opposite to people in his circle.
So is it a surprise to you then that Biden has thrown his support behind Fauci?
Yes, because I feel like if Biden wanted to go, well, okay, no, it doesn't surprise me, but I think that he could have played it a bit more neutral because Fauci technically wasn't put in place by Biden, right? He could have played that card the whole time. It's like, this is just a leftover from the Trump administration. And you could have just said, like, all of that. But because Fauci was played up as this kind of like this rebel against Trump and MAGA, all that kind of stuff, they couldn't necessarily do that, or else they have, You have the, you have people questioning who to believe then, because if Fauci is wrong, then and Trump is always wrong, then who is right? they start to question themselves.
So I like that I've seen on Twitter, and it's been quite subdued. There have been many that have said, so Trump was right then, this did come from a lab. And there's been very little, there are people engaging and saying yes, but they're refusing to agree that Trump was right. Now, obviously, we don't have for all the facts. We probably won't either. We said this last week. It's unlikely. It's such a complicated thing to prove now, especially if they scrub the area. You're just not going to be able to prove it anymore, sadly.
Correct.
There is some credibility, though, to it now, and that's the annoying part of this. It does mean if he's right, then... And I agree with the likes... I think it was Piers Morgan. He actually agreed with what I'd said a week earlier, where if it was proven to have come from a lab, China should pay. And I believe Trump himself said that China, if it's proven it came from them, should be paying trillions of dollars for damage done to economies and lives. Obviously, money doesn't really cover it, but you know what? Hand it over.
Hey,
how about we wipe out some of those debts we owe you? Fantastic. And you just give us back Hong Kong, and we'll take Taiwan as well because you don't deserve it, and Tibet.
Lol.
But it's... And also, by the way, Trump saying that, people also were agreeing with this statement with him. A quote, people were going through old tweets of his and posting images of Trump's tweets about when he used to just talk about Coke and say it was trash, or only people who knew drank Diet Coke were fat people and it tasted bad and made you hungry. And I was like, yeah, that's Twitter from when... Yeah, when he was tweeting this, I was agreeing... Yeah, that's what Twitter was then. Just... and then he'd say, I'm still going to drink your trash. Like, that pretty much sums it all up, really, doesn't it? That actually works in this context, because people will eventually dump on China, but they'll still use Chinese products or Chinese imports.
Yeah, every person who owns a...
phone.
Yeah,
Chinese products in there. If Samsung screens, I think they're still made in China. So it's
chips actually too.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
OS.
I think the idea of written in the chat there. To be honest, the West should just write an international accord wiping all sovereign debt secured with China. I'm not sure about that, but when this is all over, if they could even prove or come close to proving, first of all, it really would be a case of, so Trump was right, and you're still not willing to admit it.
Well, see, now that's the actual truth behind it, and you're never going to get people to agree on that.
Yeah, and the annoying thing for me, it's I want the consequences of what happened. But to initiate any consequence, we need proof. You have to prove it, and many people believe it is the fault of China, and anyone that that invested money into these experiments that led down this path. For whatever reason that it was done, instead of just lumping it on a bat, which is quite a strange one. But you know what? All right. It's complicated, though, isn't it? As I earlier stated.
Well, yes, it is. And to quickly tie this into our last story, which I want to get to before we run out of time.
Of course.
Trump being right is kind of a tough one to sell to a lot of people. And one of those people that it's hard to sell to is, in fact,
Mark Zuckerberg.
Facebook themselves. Yeah,
fucking Zuckerberg, man.
Because according to Mark Zuckerberg and the information that they have put out, Trump shall be, banned from Facebook for an additional 2 years, or at least from the point where he was banned.
Yeah,
he will be
backdated
backdated for 2 years.
So I want to throw something on this because there's a COVID thing here as well. Mark Zuckerberg, there's a video now that's been released. A bunch of documents and videos were sent to Project Veritas because some leakers managed to expose Facebook's censorship of users' concerns about COVID vaccines. And, Mark Zuckerberg is almost celebrating getting these people removed. So they actually acknowledge it of what they call actual truth events or facts. And I find that to be quite fascinating. Yeah. I think he's... Oh, here's the quote. I've been clear that we have a number of efforts to find people, and we terminate people and pursue the recourse that we have when we identify them. And in this case, we did find them when it came to people questioning the validity of any of the, air quotes, vaccines, end air quotes. Don't get me started on the misuse of the word. I air quoted it because it's misused. So yes, he's been he's been caught out again and put on blast. But back to Trump.
Yes, but 2 years now he is going to be banned because they couldn't leave it open-ended. They had to give some kind of
Date.
Yeah, date.
And that's because they knew they broke certain rules when it came to getting rid of him in the first place. But at the same time, they can't, based on their own sort of rules, they couldn't outright ban him because of what happened. They couldn't, because it didn't quite work. And also, it's the concept of you're banning somebody that 77 million or 70-something million people. How many? 77, wasn't it? 71?
Oh, I don't remember.
Tens of millions of people voted for, and if you're saying
A lot.
Yeah, it's that thing of, are you absolutely certain that's what you want to do, considering what you could risk doing to your platform if you don't find a middle ground? It's complicated, I think.
Well, it's not even complicated, but like, you ban somebody who a major portion of the country voted for.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell all those people that that person is no longer allowed to speak?
Mm-hmm.
Not because of anything that actually happened. No, the reason he is banned is because he quote unquote incited violence during the January 6th quote unquote riots.
I don't believe he did, but you know what?
Right. Well, funny story. The impeachment found the same.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that isn't something reflected in wider public when they constantly call it an insurrection. All right. The only thing I saw was a bunch of shitlords stealing stuff and walking home when someone got hurt. But all right. You go with that. Do carry on, though.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh god, this is the thing is it's so stupid, right? Like all of this shit for a guy who literally just stood for a nationalistic policy, right? All of this anger, all of this unfounded BS over somebody who didn't take shit from nobody and actually helped our country grow. And the vast majority of the media, the Democrats included, all said, you know what? We don't like that. We'd rather die.
Yeah.
And now everyone who is currently looking at the Biden administration going, oh no, our inflation is up. Oh no, we're about to go into war. And oh no, we're not sure what the fuck's going on with Joe Biden, has gotten a lot of people, even those who voted for him, to look at it and go, I'm a little concerned.
Not surprised.
It's bad, dude. And right now, the ongoing escalation with China is bad. They threatened the United States with nuclear war.
I like that for 4 years people thought that Trump was going to do this shit. You know, they were like, oh, this is the guy who's going to start a nuclear war. Are you so sure about that when you've got a granddad in office? A geriatric whose finger might well slip on it?
Oh, I think so.
Oh, and I just want to say, so the Trump thing, I've got the quote. Next time I'm in the White House, there'll be no more dinners at his request with Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. It will all be business. And I find this to be an interesting quote because of the part where it says at his request. Hey, Zuckerberg. Should we have a little conversation about that? Because I think a little Freedom of Information Act is required. I'd very much like to know what was said during those little dinner events.
Oh, right.
Because if you've requested to go there, yes. I know that he had Trump had a blog site. It didn't do as well, which is unfortunate. But
I think that was because of just. Well, no, that was just because of other people trying to shut down his
think
speech.
it was. I think it.
Yeah.
My view was I knew about it because of you. I had been looking at it, and it was just gone. And I'm like, all right, then I guess that's not here anymore. But all right. He is giving speeches soon in North Carolina, which is going to be a Republican convention.
I can't wait.
In Greenville.
I cannot wait.
That should be interesting because he intends to run in 2024, which is going to be very exciting, especially if it is him v. Joe Biden, because while everyone's going to prop up what Biden has done, in reality, what has he done? Enacted a lot of executive orders.
He fell down some stairs.
He had someone drive a car for him. He signed a lot of executive orders, and he also increased security around Capitol Hill. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, and
those are things he did. Yep.
I mean, there's other stuff I'm sure, but they're the things I've heard of because I'm English. We don't hear much of it, and all I'm hearing more of now is criticism about addressing a teenager creepily during a speech.
It was so weird. Oh my god, it was so creepy. It was so uncomfortable.
So we'll get to
that.
Wow,
she looks like she's 19 over there, sitting with her legs like that. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was weird. There was one where he mentioned mixed race couples on TV or radio or something, or adverts, and he said it's all soap man. I think he meant hope, but I still didn't understand what he meant.
I don't know what that means either.
No, I was talking to Cog about
one's
this.
Bad, but I have no idea what the other part means.
So the Cog thing, I was talking to Cog about this on via Twitter, and like the reference, I think and it's led down an argument. One I noticed years ago, where a lot of characters in comics or literature that are referenced as a particular race are being changed in modern adaptations. So comic books and TV shows, that's happening a lot as well. And people then start to realize, we're actually, erasing certain people essentially to make them into something else, rather than just create a different character. Which, I mean, you can have a black Superman. There is a black Superman. He's not called Kal-El. Just use him.
Right.
But you know what? I don't really care. I'm not invested in superhero movies beyond me wanting to watch the Justice League film.
I don't like that. Like our entire culture kind of centers around superhero movies. I feel like we could do a lot better.
I think I would say that I think that when Marvel did what it did, those 10 years and those movies released, as a story, that was really good, and the fact it played out, fantastic. But I don't think I need that in my life anymore. I'm burnt out from it, so I don't see a point. But that's just me. It's why I really wanted to watch this movie, this Justice League version, because I watched the original one. I just didn't enjoy it that much. I know we've circled back onto this. Perhaps we'll finish on the Trump thing. What do you think he'll say at the North Carolina Republican Convention? Oh, and also, many people think that he is now he's still pushing an election lie, because emails recently came out with him reaching out to the Arizona governor to thank her for ensuring election integrity. I linked the article. The article is in our little server. I will relink it so you can see the article on the election-related stuff. But what do you think about it? What do you think he might say at the convention?
I think he's probably going to start it off how he did with the Republican National Convention and say, "Hey, you guys missed me yet?"
Yeah. Do you think they missed him?
And I think everyone misses him right now.
Honestly, that I have heard bugger all from the Republicans at the moment. I've heard nothing. I've not seen anything either. That's disappointing. If all I'm seeing is one side who constantly think they're right, the same side. This sounds really rude. Not all Democrats are like this, of course not. But when all I see is self-righteousness and can never be wrong types, constantly pushing what they think is as fact, to never be challenged on it, even when more information is coming out that completely contradicts them, then I tend to, get a bit annoyed, a little bit irked.
When they come out, right, and their entire perspective is simply like the anti-X existence, I lose all sense, or they lose all sense of credibility, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that way about Trump in particular, because this isn't the first time. We have seen this over and over again, right? This is not news. The fact that we have this kind of shit in general that we deal with constantly, and I mean constantly, I think a lot of people are just tired.
Mm-hmm. That's what I often wonder with these people, because constantly thinking you're right, at some point surely you're gonna question it at some point. Surely you're gonna not just listen and believe. Surely at some point you're gonna sit back and be like, how much longer can I push this before even I have to stop sniffing my own farts?
Oh, they will keep you guessing. That's for certain. I honestly think they've been able to do it for more than 40 years, dude. I don't think that they're going to come to a resolution, or to have any kind of epiphany anytime soon.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really sad thing, but unfortunately I think that's where we're looking.
Unfortunately so. Is there anything else on this we should talk about, or are we okay?
I don't think I've got anything else, but it's a whole lot of just sad.
Okay. Well, if you haven't already and you've been listening, please consider smashing the like. We'd greatly appreciate it. It is very helpful to us. We are done here for this week's edition of the Political Recap Stream. It will be on Spotify tomorrow, because I have to work early, so there's no way I'm going to sort it all out tonight. But it will be there tomorrow. Please consider giving us a follow over there. We greatly appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to promote, Troops?
Not quite yet, but I am going to try to get back into a swing of things here soon.
Fingers crossed for you. I have nothing to promote because I don't care enough. Thank you all very much for joining. Unless Troops is not here next week.
I should be here.
Then we shall be here on Friday?
Yeah.
Then we'll be back on Friday. Thank you all very much for joining, and we'll see you next time. Say goodnight, Troops.
Good night, Troops.
Good night, Troops.